Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, In the Light of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. In this segment of our program, in which we are looking at various questions which our viewers have written in or called in to the Discover Islam Islamic Center or to us here in Sharjah Television, and our P.O. box here is 111 Sharjah. We'll be looking at questions which concern illegitimate children, also conditional marriages, and we'll be looking also at drawing, writing, sketching for children, and phone-in question which has to do with travel, female travel on behalf of parents. And if we have time, we'll also be looking at some questions concerning memorization of Quran. Now, our first question from Saud in Dubai. She writes, Dear Dr. Bilal, Assalamu alaikum. There's a question a friend of mine has been asking me about. It is, if a child which is illegitimate but whose father acknowledges him, isn't the father responsible for taking care of the child both financially and morally? What does Islam say in this regard? Thank you. An illegitimate child. From Islamic perspective, the child is identified with the mother. It takes the name of the mother, and the father, or the person assumed to be the father, really has no rights over that child. However, from a moral perspective, if an individual recognizes that in fact this is his child, he should provide some means of financial means of looking after the child, and moral support from the point of view of trying to help the child in its development. But he is not able to claim that child as his, officially and legally in the society, though it may be known to him on an emotional level, on an intellectual level, it may be known, because the Islamic law does not recognize his parenthood of that child if the child has been born out of wedlock, out of marriage. So we'll just say that it would be from a moral and financial point of view, one should do so, but there is actually no requirement on the part of that man. There's no requirement. He has committed a sin, a major sin, for which he will be punished on the Day of Judgment. If he repents, seeks Allah's forgiveness, sincere repentance, then he should try to make good or to do as much as he can, to see that that child is raised in the best way. Second question is from Sister Fatima Bashir from Madras, India. She writes, Dear Dr. Bilal, Assalamu alaikum. I've heard about conditional nikah nama, I guess it's conditional marriage, in which a bride can, before the nikah contract, set some conditions which the husband should fulfill. Say, for instance, she has set a condition that her husband should not get married for the second time. Then shouldn't the husband abide by the contract? Please clarify. Thank you. Well, it is true that in the marriage contract, conditions can be set. This is not considered a conditional marriage. I mean, the marriage contract in Islam can be without conditions set by the husband and wife. There are already conditions set by Allah, through His Prophet. There are conditions for that marriage which have been set. Requirements, responsibilities, and requirements that are there already. Additional conditions may be added by the husband and wife, where they see there's something that they want out of the marriage, which they want insured, which may have been promised by the husband or the wife or whatever. As I mentioned in an earlier program, a husband marrying, for example, a Christian woman may put in the marriage contract the condition that the children be raised as Muslims. The condition here that the husband not take a second wife, this condition, of course, becomes questionable. The Prophet ﷺ had said, any condition added to a contract which is not from the Book of Allah is not valid. There's a statement to that effect from the Prophet, may God's peace and blessings be upon him. On the basis of that, the majority of scholars hold that such a condition, where the woman prohibits the husband from taking a second wife, where Allah has already given permission in the Quran, when He said, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ. Marry of the believing women those who please you, 2, 3, or 4. And it goes on to say, of course, if you're not able to be just with them, then only 1. But that permission has already been given by Allah. So for that permission to be now superseded with a condition in the marriage contract that the man may not take a second wife, this would be considered invalid according to the majority of scholars. However, there are some scholars who hold that the man has to stick by it, based on another statement of the Prophet, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, in which he said that the conditions which are made for marriage have the most right to be fulfilled. Because it is by marriage that the woman has become accessible to the man. That the woman has given herself to him on the basis of the marriage contract. So whatever conditions have been placed there, he should fulfill. Now, some scholars hold on to that and say, well, on the basis of that, such a condition should be fulfilled. However, the majority of scholars hold that this is a general statement, that conditions which are placed, in general, they should be fulfilled. However, the other statement of the Prophet, may God's peace and blessings upon him, makes an exception for statements which go against the Book of Allah, the Quran. And that is the more authentic and correct position. That any condition and any contract which goes against the teachings of Islam, then such contracts would be invalid. So the woman should not put that as a condition. She may put as a condition that if her husband takes a second wife, she wants the right to pronounce divorce. This is a condition she can put, because this is not something against the Book of Allah. Though males are primarily the ones who have given the permission to pronounce divorce, this permission can also be granted to women. A man may grant it as a condition in his marriage. A woman may ask that in her marriage contract she wants the right also to pronounce divorce as the man pronounces divorce. She wants that right also. And that can be given, because this is not against the Book of Allah. Though it is given to the man primarily, it is also possible for the woman to pronounce divorce. Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace be upon him, at one point when his wives were giving him a bit of difficulty, he gave them an option. If they wanted to divorce out, then they could seek divorce. So it is something permissible. So a woman may put that in her contract as a general principle, that if she wishes at any point in the marriage to pronounce divorce, she can do so, or as a condition that if he marries somebody else, she has the right to pronounce divorce to be able to leave that situation. This is her right if she wishes to do so. But to prevent him from taking a second wife by saying he cannot, no, of course, this condition goes against what Allah has permitted already in the Quran. So we would say that one is not acceptable. So in general, what we're saying here is that there's no such thing as a conditional marriage. No, there are conditions may be added to the contract, which are conditions which are already there. Additional conditions may be added. There are conditions for marriage in Islam. These conditions may be added as long as they don't go against the clear instructions of Islam.